Good afternoon. How is everybody doing? Welcome to our Friday Wellness Talk. If you're finding me for the first time, my name is Penny and I welcome you to the broadcast. Invite your friends. Let's talk. We try to make it as simple as we can. So do me a favor and invite your friends. Let's talk. We are regular people going through regular problems, and it's time for us to take time. And I'm trying to share this video. Reflect on ourselves and where we are and where we want to go. So please share this video and thanks for coming on. And we come here every Friday to talk about our health, to talk about what we are doing that is going to improve our health and what we can do to get better compared to where you are. So give me a minute because I'm doing my own sharing. I'm my own fundi wa mitambo, meaning my own technical person. God willing, eventually I pray that I'll get somebody to run my show so I can focus on talking about what I want to talk about while the person is sharing. So good afternoon. So we've been talking about different things every Friday about our wellness and our wealth. And every week we try to cover different things. And I will encourage all of you to tune in and do something about your health. John, how you doing? So today we want to talk about healing and reconciliation. Healing and reconciliation is something that is so huge and yet it's costing us our lives. Lydia, how are you? Because a lot of us are going through so much because we have broken relationships. Maybe I should tie this. Yeah, look better. See my African shirt? We put the last button. Oh, good. Yeah, that looks better. So a lot of us are going through different kinds of relationships. It could be with your parents, it could be your ex-wife, your ex-husband, your children, your co-workers, different relationships. And as we get older, we are learning that your relationships are going to determine a lot of things, especially when it comes to your health. The better relationships you have with people, the healthier you are. A lot of us don't take that seriously. You are sometimes a minute away from being homeless. You are sometimes a minute away from being in the hospital. You could turn around down the street and you get into an accident. And now you're in a wheelchair. Who's going to help you? Who's in your local community? Last week we talked about your surrounding, the people you're surrounding, your network. Who are those people that you're surrounding yourself with? A lot of us are going through a lot of deep pain that sometimes is caused by broken relationships with our parents, some of the broken relationships with our siblings, some of the broken relationships with our friends, some broken relationships with the co-workers. I see at work the co-workers that don't get along. I see them avoiding each other. I see them when they meet at the break room. I see them at the bathroom. I see people who don't like each other interacting every day, literally almost 3 to 4 days I go to work a week. I see co-workers who don't like each other. And you know what we don't know because we're not doctors? When you have a bad relationship with someone and you see them, your heart skips a beat or you feel some kind of way. You don't know how that's affecting your health. Bad relationships affect your health, okay? And people don't know that their health is being affected. They think everything is okay until you go to the doctor one day and the doctor is telling you that you have such and such a thing going on. And you try to trace it. Where did this start from? When did I start getting such and such a disorder? What happened? But it's because every time you walked into the break room and saw that person, you felt, oh, I saw Lydia again. Oh, I saw John again. When you see these people, you just don't feel okay. And we underestimate those things. If we can even start with the parents, some of our parents, the relationships we have with them are so broken that we never heal. Because you look back, you're like, why was my father doing this? Why was my mother doing this? Why did my brother do this? Why did my sister do this? And 2 days ago, I was telling my daughter that a lot of us are well contained at our places of work. A lot of us are even well contained with our friends. We hold ourselves before we say things. We think twice before we say what we have to do. But when we come to our families, when we come to your husband, to your wife, to your children, to your parents, because we know that they love us unconditionally, we are always saying anything to them. But at your place of work, because you know you're going to be fired, you don't say anything because you're controlled by being written up, you're controlled by being fired, you're controlled by the money that you earn. But remember, your place of work where you earn the money so you can bring it to your family. So if you have broken relationships, Judith, how are you? What is that money? How good is that money when you're not able to have a good meal with your family? When you're not able to take a vacation with your spouse? When you're not able to take your children on holiday? When you're not able to just say, let's go eat out as a family because nobody's talking to anybody in the house? This is why most of us are not okay. We are not well because the people that we live with, some of you live with people you don't talk to. Some of you are living in different rooms. Some of you have not spoken to each other for a month, and you don't understand how deep those things affect you. Those things affect you so deeply. So today we wanted to talk about healing and reconciliation, where we are looking at the relationships that hurt you the most, that you want to reconcile or that you want to mend, are people that you care about. If you don't care about certain people, you will not want reconciliation from them. Okay? We want to repair relationships that we value, especially when it's your parents, it's your siblings, it's your co-workers, people that you're interacting with every day. Those are the relationships that you want to mend or you want to fix. We do this because you know what? We value these relationships. And how did we end up having broken relationships? It's because we come into conflict. When we are in conflict, if we don't know how to solve the conflict, that's how come we end up with these broken relationships. We have to learn how to solve conflicts when we're in conflict. Sometimes you're disagreeing with your spouse, and some of you end up hitting each other, some of you curse each other, some of you say things you can't even take back. So we are in conflict. When we are in conflict, which is usually family conflict, what do? We say things that we can't even take back. And you know what? With time, we are not even able to forgive people for those things they say to us. If you're not able to forgive someone, you're not able to reconcile. That's why we have to end certain relationships, because now some of us are not willing to forgive these people. So if you can forgive certain people, sometimes you might have to leave the job. Sometimes you might have to end your marriage. Sometimes you might have to cut your children off. Sometimes you might have to cut your brothers and sisters off because you're trying to reconcile and they're not willing to reconcile. So usually when there's someone that you have a broken relationship with and you feel like it's bothering you, it's good to reach out to that person and say, so and so, are we able to talk over this? A lot of us, because of pride, we are not able to pick the phone and say, hello, John, I wronged you, or you wronged me. Can we meet somewhere and talk about this. You can even take a pen and a paper, write the list of the things that you really have a concern, and meet with this person and see how many of the things you can try to resolve. For instance, some of us, and English is like our third language. So there is a way I can say something in English to someone, it means something different. Even in Ekegusi, I can say something in Ekegusi to someone on a text, and it means something different. You know, you can text someone something and it hurts their feelings. So if you reach out to that person, explain to them why you're reaching out, because you're so worried about this relationship. That's why you want to mend the relationship, because it is affecting your wellness, it's affecting how you feel. Tell them, I'm reaching out because I feel like, we had this going on. If it's your parents, I felt that you wronged me, and I want to know what can we do to mend this relationship, because you need healing. And 2 days ago, I showed you guys a wound that I got when I was cleaning. That wound, this wound here, I don't even know how you can see it. It's right there. Oh, it's right there. You can't even see it. It's over there. It's a deep wound. There it is. This wound is very deep. I was cleaning and it cut me, the glass cut me deep. And when it cut me deep, I was in pain for 2 days. And every time I was doing something, if something hit me, I was feeling so much pain. And this is my right hand. So when we are talking about healing, we are talking about somebody that you're in contact with, your spouse, your children. You have a wound here. Somebody hurt you yesterday, and then tomorrow they hit you again. The closest person to you is always going to hit that wound. So this wound is going to take longer to heal because somebody is always hitting it. When you're reaching out to this person for reconciliation or for forgiveness, be ready for these people to say no. Because when you're ready to reconcile or when you're ready to forgive the other person might not be ready to forgive you. So be ready for that person to tell you, no, we are not going to reconcile. I don't feel like talking to you. I am done. Whatever they're going to tell you, if you reach out to do this reconciliation, accept that no and say, you know what, I tried. Be ready to compromise when you're going to meet this person and they tell you that so and so, I did this, be ready to meet this person halfway. Because if you come with all your list of things that you want to reconcile or you want to forgive or you want to talk about, be ready to meet the other person's concerns halfway, where you're compromising. If you cannot compromise, you're just looking at it one way, Elkanah, how are you? Then you're not going to get healing. Then you're not going to reconcile because you're coming with a mindset that, you know what, I'm the one who was wronged. Healing needs deep thought. Healing needs a lot of thinking and a lot of letting go. Because if you value somebody so much, people that hurt you the most are people that you valued so much. So for you to reconcile with these people, you have to meet halfway. Okay? Love always covers. When you love someone, you always have the time you're ready to just let go because you want that person in your life. So because you love this person, it could be a co-worker, it could be your spouse, it could be your child. When you love people, sometimes you can let some things go. You're not going to worry so much about some of the things they do. You just let them pass. Okay? So love can also help you to reconcile and to heal. Love can enable you to look at somebody in a different way because you care about this person the same way we care about our children. No matter how many bad things our children do, we are always willing to forgive them. Try to love again after you have reconciled. Learn to lower your expectations. Sometimes, especially us women, we come from families where we've gone through so many challenges with our parents. By the time we are meeting a spouse, we are expecting so much from the men. And even the men, sometimes they are not ready for us because nobody prepared them for such a wounded soldier. So when they meet you and they tell you, I love you, you feel like your whole world has changed. Ladies, remember, your husband is also coming from a different place. He also has his own baggage. You have your own baggage. So when you meet this man, you cannot burden the man to heal you of all the wounds that you have had from your mom, all the wounds you have had from your father, all the wounds you have had from your friends. Women kind of expect men to tell them, I love you, and expect them to carry all their burdens and make them happy. Nobody can make you happy but yourself. If you're such a happy person, you will not be carrying all that baggage and expecting somebody else to heal your baggage. And sometimes it's also men. Men think when they're going to marry wives, these wives are going to marry them and cater to them. Your woman is coming with a burden. You're coming with your burden. Now you're sitting there, you're expecting so much from each other. And when your expectations are not met, you start having grudges. You start getting bitter. You start getting angry because your expectations are not met. Lower your expectations, especially with people that you have relationships with. Learn how to disagree. Some of you cannot just get into a simple conflict and just solve it. When you're in conflict, you're quick to say things you can't take back. You're quick to get angry. You're quick to raise your blood pressure up like that. You're throwing your hands. You're doing this. You're packing your thing. You're breaking things. You're calling people. You're smashing things in the house. You know, you have to learn for things not to go your way. Otherwise, even if that person forgives you, you really never heal. Who's that? Kenyan Simba. Excuse me, is the dogs. Okay? Learn to disagree, because when you're in conflict, all those things you're doing at that moment, you're going to look back and say, did I have to do all that? You don't have to do all that. Because when you do all that, you're not able even to take back half the things that you said. Because you don't know how to resolve conflict. You cannot solve conflict when you are one-sided, when you're saying, you know what, it is my way. People cannot just forget everything you just said a few minutes ago. You're saying 1,000 wrong things to someone just because you came into conflict. Oh, look at you. Nobody wanted you. Oh, look at you. You'll never amount to anything. Oh, look at you. You will never succeed. You're saying all kinds of things to people. Try to figure out how you got into that conflict, and try to see how you can come out of that conflict, because you know what? That conflict and all those things you're saying, you might never take them back. Even if you try to reconcile, even if you try to make up, you've said so many things that you can't take back. When you're trying to heal and reconcile, focus on the future. The past has been lived. The present is today. The future is coming. Is you're building yourself. You give yourself a foundation for the future. Don't focus so much on what has happened in the past. If anything, learn from what has happened in the past. Try to live the present by working on building a good foundation for the future. When need be, not even when need be, always apologize. Be sorry. When you've wronged somebody, be sorry. Because there's no perfect person who doesn't make a mistake. We all make mistakes. Once you've lost somebody's trust, you have to build that person's trust. You have to find a way to rebuild that trust. And another thing, don't try to take yourself back to where you've come from, because you've come from far. If you've come from far, you cannot take yourself back to where you were. If you take yourself back to where you started, you're going to go back to square one again. You don't want to go back to square one. You don't want to take yourself back to where you started. 1, 2, 3. You go 3 steps ahead, you go 4 steps behind. You go 4 steps ahead, you go 5 steps behind. If you keep going backwards, you will never resolve that problem. You'll always have that problem. Now, The reason most of us end up having all these conflicts, I don't want to take too much of your time, it's because some of us emotionally we are not stable. I take mental illness seriously. I take mental or psychological evaluation seriously. Evaluate yourself. Where are you mentally? Because some of you, anytime you're in conflict with someone, you explode on someone, and then you expect tomorrow to be a good day. You cannot explode on me today. You cast me out because emotionally you are not stable to handle the conflict, and then expect for me tomorrow to talk to you like nothing happened. Evaluate your emotional status. Check yourself. I always say check, call, and care. Evaluate yourself. Where are you emotionally? When you're in conflict, your reactions, okay? How are you reacting when you come in conflict with a close person, with a loved one? I was talking to a friend today that I told that some of you have very good jobs, you have big title jobs, you are CEO, you are this, you're that at your place of work. And at your place of work, because you earn, you're calm and collected. You'll be sitting in a meeting, you'll know what you can't say, you know what you're supposed to say. But when you get home, when you're in conflict with your wife, you don't have the same ability to contain yourself and respect your wife and respect your husband, respect your mom, respect your dad, respect your friends, and choose what you're saying to your friends. We don't have that ability, but we have that ability at our places of work. We are able to stay calm. And the Bible says, what will it gain you to gain the whole world and lose your soul? If you were fired tomorrow, and that job can fire you tomorrow, and you come to the house, who are you coming back to? You're coming back to your wife. You're coming back to your husband. You're coming back to your children. Always seek God. God is within us, and God speaks through man. When we say there's a God, you don't physically see God. God speaks to us through a friend, through Facebook, through TikTok, through reading a book. Listen to God in your quiet time. I always tell you there is you, there is the demon in the head, and there is God. There is three people always in your head, inside your brain, wrestling with you. Remember to know when the devil is speaking to you. Remember to know when God is speaking to you. And remember when you're making choices. Because we make choices to break these relationships without thinking about it. So seek God in your life. Gozi, this Nigerian writer, says there is a two sides to a story. When you listen to two people who are in conflict, when you get a chance to listen to the first person first, it feels like the other person wronged that person until you speak to the other person. When you speak to the other person, you find that the story is different. There's two sides to even our hands. There's two sides to a story. Examine yourself before you blame other people. What role did you play to find yourself in that conflict? What is your role? And what is your side of the story? You have your side. What is the other person's side of the story? There is two sides to a story. Ask yourself, how could have I resolved this problem better than the way I did it? Because you know what, if there's a co-worker you just don't like every day, how can you work with someone for 20 years you don't work like every day? Can you imagine what you do to your heart when you see them? Can you imagine the fights and the wars you have to do every day? You're married to somebody you have to fight every day in your house. Can you imagine what you're doing to your organs, what you're doing to your body, what you're doing to your brain? Because every time you see them, you're just feeling like, you know what, this person is just annoying me. Ask yourself what role you play in causing some of this pain that you cause yourself, that sometimes you're not even able to forgive or you're not able to reconcile. But you also played a role. It cannot be one-sided story. Practice having values and standards. When you don't have standards and values to live by, anything goes. And that's why we come in conflict. For me, when you talk to me, you're not going to use the F word. You're not going to use curse words. You're not going to swear. There's languages that words, or rather, there are words that are not acceptable in my vocabulary. So when you come to have a conversation with me, because I have my standards, we're going to keep it that way. And you should know. Come here. Simba. Kenya, come here. Say hi. You guys are making noise. Stay here. Say hi. See, these are the dogs that are making noise. Stay right here and stay calm. If you stay here, you stay calm. Look at the camera and stay calm. Okay? No, don't go anywhere. Stay here. Stay down. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. We are doing the show from here. Stay here. Stay here and pay attention. Okay? So, communicate respectively. Okay? Communicate respectively, because you know what? Tell someone that I did not like what you did, and what you did really offended me, and moving forward, we are not going to do it that way. So that person understands that, you know what, when we're in conflict, my spouse or my co-worker doesn't like this, and this is why we were having such a conflict last time. Communicate respectively, okay? And set those standards for you that, you know, people know what to expect from you. Not just anything goes. Anything just doesn't go with everybody, okay? Kenya, you can't go. You have to stay here. Punishment. Because you guys are making noise when I'm talking. Stay right here. Don't go anywhere, okay? All right? So if you take care of yourself, if you've done what we call self-care, you might not have those outbursts. When you're in conflict with people, a lot of you have what we call outbursts or flares, because you're not taking care of yourself. When you're not taking care of yourself, what happens? Any little trigger, any little thing that happens, it's a trigger. Anything somebody says, you're so ready to explode on those people, because you know what? You're not doing self-care. You're supposed to do self-care. So that way your wellness comes first. So that way you're doing okay. So when you're faced with conflict, you don't feel like somebody is targeting you. Simba, stay right here, okay? After you've told the person what you don't like, you have to give people time so they can study you. You study each other so you know what you don't like. And you know, once you've tried to resolve that conflict, you need something called healing. That's what we were talking about today. Don't expect things to just change all of a sudden after you've communicated. It's going to take a while for things to get better. But meanwhile, you have to be optimistic. If you don't have a positive outlook, anytime somebody corrects you, it's like they are targeting you. Every time somebody says something to you, it's like, oh, they just want to destroy me. If that's the kind of attitude that you have, you're always going to be in conflict with everyone. Because even children that you have raised, that you've taught the values, that know what you believe, that you've had them your whole life, you still get in conflict with them every now and then. So how you deal with those conflicts is going to determine how everything is going to go. After you've done all these things, we need to learn to forgive. Okay? Forgiveness is something that is so hard for all of us. Simba, are you going to behave yourself? If I let you go, you're going to behave yourself? Because you guys are making noise. Yeah? Okay, let me let you go. But don't make noise. Kenya, you are nice and calm. And you stay here. You don't have a problem. It's your son. So, forgiveness is not something that is so easy. It's a very hard thing. When we tell people forgive, the reason why we are not able to practice forgiveness, because these people keep talking and making the same mistake over and over. Every time you forgive them, they do the same thing again. It's like poking a wound. You have a wound here, and somebody still wants to come and touch that wound. You have a wound here, they want to come and step on that wound. It's going to take such a long time to heal if you keep touching the wound, if you keep stepping on someone. Someone has told you, I don't like this, over and over. But you continue doing the same thing over and over. Kenya, even if you want to go, are you being nice? Okay, but don't make noise. So, and actually, even animal therapy, some of you don't know, part of your healing when you have all these things going on, get a cat, get a dog, get a pet. It's going to help you in the process. Dogs are very therapeutical, cats are therapeutical. Get a bird, get an animal, because animals have a way that they interact with you that is going to really lower your blood pressure, ease you, because the animals are not judgmental like people. So today, I wanted to talk about the process of healing. I wanted to talk about reconciliation and forgiving one another. When things are not going right, it's not always somebody's fault. Now, a lot of us are having problems because we have broken relationships. Anyone who has good relationships is thriving because when they are going through a crisis, they know who to call. When they are going through challenges, they know who to call. When things are not going right, they know who to call. They can wake up 1 a.m. and they know I can call so and so. If it's finances, these people are there for them. If it's something to do with an employment, they know so and so got me. If it's something that, to do with the church, they have so and so at church, so and so at church got me. So let us work on healing and reconciling, or rather, a healing and mending those broken relationships that were broken because we were in conflict. And learn how to solve your conflicts. Because once you learn how to solve your conflicts, you'll never have to go through all these things. When you're in conflict, stay calm. Talk to yourself. Ask yourself, whatever I'm going to say, am I going to be able to take it back? Is this information going to build the other person I'm saying? Sometimes my mom used to tell me, if somebody's abusing you, fold the hand and open the hand when you finish. When they finish, when you see it, they didn't write it on your hand. But before you say something to somebody that you love, or somebody that you work with, or somebody that you meet on social media, ask yourself, is this something that is going to grow this person? If it's not going to grow that person, hold back. Think twice. Don't just say things. Take time. Because when you say those things, they're going to come back to bite you, and you cannot take them back. For now, I want to thank you for taking your time from your busy time. I only wanted to take 30 minutes of your time because you have a lot of other things to do. May the Lord God bless you. And I want to thank all of you that have been giving me stars, and those of you who've subscribed to my page, and those of you who have been sharing my videos. I truly appreciate you. And I am not keeping up with Penny or without your support. So what we do on this page, we want to inspire one person. We want to educate one person if we can. And we want to bring people together. Let us do things that can bring unity amongst ourselves. Okay? Inspire, educate, and unite. And always take care of yourself. Because if you're well taken care of, if you accept yourself who you are and where you are, and some of the choices that you made and how you put yourself up to today, it will be easy to get along with other people. Because we find it so hard to accept the bad choices we have made. And it is the reason we are not able to accept others. If you can't accept yourself, Simba, stop! If you can't accept yourself, how are you going to accept other people? Choices have consequences. We are our choices. If you've made bad choices, forgive yourself. Reconcile with yourself. Do not live in the past. Don't miss the present. If you work hard on the present, you have a bright future. Cheers and have a lovely weekend. May the Lord God bless you. Thanks for watching.